Well, it's now Monday morning and I've removed the crash panel from my Kia Ceed to have a look at the clutch pedal. So there's the actual linkage there, if you can see that there, and as far as I can tell there's absolutely no play. There's maybe 1 or 2 millimeters there, but there's no play in the pedal, not like the Venga. So there's my finger, very minimal, 1 or 2 millimeters there. The reason I've also taken this out is this thing kept catching on my bloody feet, so that's obviously needing tucked up somewhere. So I'm going to check that out at the same time. So now I've got the knowledge that my Kia has like 1 or 2 mils. I'm going to hopefully use some cable ties to take up the slack on the Venga clutch. Whether or not that's going to be a success, I don't know, but that's the logic I'm following this morning. Right, so we're out at the Venga. I've got some cable ties. I've got a little pair of pliers to take out the the split pin thing. So let's get in under here and have a look at what the differences are. So here's the Venga pedal. So that's free play, totally different to the Kia, to the Ceed. And all that movement is up there on that joint here. So I need to undo that split pin there and take up that slack. So I'll need to figure out how to get that split pin out, but you can see that obviously shouldn't be as much as that. So I'll need to figure out how to get that split pin out. And I've got a little pair of fiddly pliers here, and hopefully that'll get it out. I shouldn't really be using the cloth seat as a workbench, but it's fairly clean. So this is a split pin that comes out. So that's the part there, this straight part that goes through to hold it on, and then this kind of holds it in place. So what I did was I put the pliers there and I bent it, and as I bent it, this splayed apart and let me take it out. There may be a different way to take that out, but that's what worked for me. So if in doubt, you can give it a go how it worked for me. So this bit, this bendy bit, appears to hold it in place, and then this is what secures the pedal to the plastic end of the push rod for the clutch master cylinder. So I don't want to lose that split pin, so I'm going to put it there. Let's have a look up underneath here and see what I can see. So there is, if my arm doesn't get caught, some sort of plastic thing on there, whatever that is. Okay, so this little plastic ping pong bat is on there. I have no idea what that little tab does, or little bit that sticks out. The handle for the base, the ping pong bat, and how easily does that pop off? So that pops off relatively easily. Now let's see how ovalized that is. Again, there's not that much room under here, so yeah, definitely. Where the hell? Definitely ovalized. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a print on my finger. Well, it doesn't actually look that bad there, but it's definitely not a circle. So that's the shape of it. So I'm going to try and fill it in at this end, see if it takes up the slack. Right, so I've put that joint back on. You can see how much it's moving, yeah? Now, if I can use my 3 arms and put a little shim in there, the end of a there's still a tiny little bit of play there. It's almost impossible for me to do this lying with my left ribs on the side of the sill area of the door, propping myself up with my elbow. It's yeah, you need to be a bit of a contortionist. So I'll try and do this without the camera and see if I can get something in there to take up the slack. Alright, so this part I pretty much did by touch, just on my knees here, with my hands underneath, feeling. So I've threaded in a little bit of the cable tie, and you can see perhaps the end of the cable tie there, and I've pushed it over. So now there's absolutely no play. I mean, there's obviously movement in the shaft of the master cylinder when I do that, but there's no play in the pedal. So I'm going to test that. I'll just tuck that out of the way there just now, and if that's successful I'll put this stuff back on. I'm going to start the car and see if I can get it into gear without any difficulty. Right, here we go. This is live. I've not done anything at all. You're seeing it exactly as it happened. I'm not going to BS anybody. So, key in. Oh, better turn that off. So, there's today's date if anybody's interested. 21st of October. Alright, so obviously as you can see the ESC light is still on. I've turned the ignition on, the glow plug's gone out. I'm pressing the clutch pedal to the floor. It's started up fine. So, I've not made any changes down there. So I'm going to push the clutch down. So that's the clutch down. I'm going to try and get it into gear, which I couldn't do before. Now it did go into gear. Yep, it's not cut out. So let's see if, yep, that's definitely going forwards. It's not ideal, so I'll take it out of gear. It goes out of gear. Yep, reverse is a bit crunchy. No, I'm not happy with the reverse. So it is stiff. So that's it in second. It's stiff. It goes into first. I've got the clutch down, obviously. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So it is notchy. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to put it into reverse. I'm going to start it. Right, so I can start it in reverse. Car's not moving. I'll let the clutch out. I guess this is kind of back to where I started, roughly. Maybe a little bit further back. There. So, let's see if I can take it out of reverse. That's pretty stiff. I'm not going to force it. So, we're heading in the right direction, I believe. It might be that the clutch needs bled more, but I do still think the damper is the main culprit. So, what I would say is, this will actually allow me now to drive the car. Because I can easily enough stop the car, put it in reverse, start up, and then reverse back if I need to. But let's just do another check. Sorry for the sunlight coming in at the side there. Glow plug off. Start the car. It is definitely stiff. It's not smooth. Yeah. But it will let me get into gear. Handbrake off we go. Clutch is biting quite quickly, I would say. Oh, no, you can definitely hear that. Hear it? No. So, engine off. See, when I've not got the engine running, it goes into gear absolutely smoothly. So, I don't think it's anything to do with the mechanical side of the clutch. So let's get into here. Start the car. Oh, what's happened there? That suggests to me that the clutch is not down fully. Yeah. Ooh, what have I done? What have I done? I need to check something here. Alright, so what I'm going to attempt to do now is just take this knife, this blade, and that's handy. Flash hasn't come on. I'm going to trim the excess cable tie off. That'll allow me to get the pin through the hole at the top there after I've put on that little white plastic spacer thing. Well, I've given up on that idea. So as far as I'm aware, that's where I need to cut it there. You need to be an absolute bloody contortionist to even think about using that knife with your ribs on here, your elbow on there, getting up, and then the angle to cut it is hellish. So I'm just going to use a pair of scissors and snip it off there and see if it works. And hopefully that's thin enough to allow me to put that spacer on and then that split pin back in. So here we go. Okay, so that's the cable tie shim. I think it might be completely the wrong size, but that's going to go in and it's going to fold down on the inside where it's a bit thinner, and then that's all I'm needing to take up the. Of course, it doesn't like bloody focusing. That's all I'm needing to take up that space. Well, here at Budget and Scarper, I've had a second thought. I'm just going to put that split pit in for the time being and see how that works. I've still got the little plastic thing, so that'll go in there. So I'm going to see if the car starts again. But yeah, that was hopeless. Maybe if you're left-handed and have multiple joints in your arms, it might work, but too much effort as far as I'm concerned. Alright, back in the car. I've put it into reverse, turn on the ignition, glow plug light is out, pedal down, it's started. There was a very, very slight drag there. So a quick check. I need to go back a little bit further yet. That looks like the worn grass. So yeah, that's out of gear. It's gone into gear, but it's rough. It's definitely not enough push yet. So I'm feeling hopeful that I'm absolutely on the right track. So the question is, do I just buy on eBay the damper, or the whatever you call it? There's a technical term for it. Clutch. I don't know what the hell it's called off the top of my head, but anyway, most people refer to it as a damper. Do I buy a damper sump plug, or what? But I think that's it. But one of my pals, my pal Adam, he is probably on his way up here today, so I might try some regular bleeding of the clutch, getting a bit of hose on that bleed nipple and forcing it out to see if that makes any difference. But I'll actually nip along and see a pal of mine at the local garage and see if he's got any spare sump bolts. I'll just ask him that question. That would be a quicker and easier way to deal with it, and then see where it goes from there. But taking that play at the clutch pedal has definitely improved it significantly, because you had to stop and start the car, putting it into gear. Obviously that's not a workable solution, but it's workable partially at the moment, because now I just have to turn the engine off to get it into reverse. But perhaps with just the bleed, you know, a pressure bleed as opposed to gravity bleed that I did yesterday, that'll return the proper full function. But I have my doubts, because everywhere on the internet they're talking about these dampers being the problem. In other news, we actually did a quick clean of the seat here. I notice now that it's dried out, it could still do with a bit there, but that's definitely a lot better than it was. I've still got this spot cleaner, so I'll probably end up putting this back and giving that lower portion a go over, but definitely much better. Maybe still a bit there that could do with being going over again, but it's dried out nicely and certainly looks quite acceptable. So off to the garage. I didn't realise it was afternoon, but off to the garage, and I'll ask if he's got a sump bolt. Well, back out to the car. Just been tidying up a blown away greenhouse from the wind last night. So the plan now is to crack open the bleed nipple after putting pressure on the clutch. I've got my glamorous assistant in there, Adam. He's going to be doing the pumping, and I'm going to see if I can get that bled a little bit better than it was. See if that improves the clutch function. Right, I'll just show you the movement. Don't know if that's a normal amount of movement or if it should be moving slightly further. On the Kia, the Ceed, it seems to move right to the end, but I don't know if it's the same. Well, in my experience, the pressure bleeding did not help, it made it worse. There's a helicopter up there looking at something. Anyway, I'm going to put the airbox back together and then put this back together, and I should have worn my gloves. So putting the airbox back in is fairly simple. You've got the back left 10mm bolt, the back right 10mm bolt, and at the front right a 10mm bolt. And those bloody catches, it's easy to catch your hand on them, so watch your fingers. Right, that's the 3 bolts put in. This actually wasn't that dirty, it's my fingers. This was new this year, this air filter, according to the service receipts. So let's get that into place, and then the cover hooks. There's 2 hooks at the back. They go into 2 hooks there, and then you've got this bit. And then just bring these latches over, so that one goes straight in and this one comes at an angle 45 degrees. That's that. I just need to tighten up this. I can't remember if that's a 10. Yeah. I think that's tight enough. And then I just need to put this back into place. That should be that. Don't forget my WD-40 and my brake fluid. Right, so I did actually pick up a sump bolt, but it might be too wide. So that's it for now. The next thing will be to look at the clutch damper. The chap John at the garage said he doesn't recommend just putting a bolt in. He recommends changing the damper. So anyway, I'll find out. I'll find out the size of the bolt and see if it's a suitable one though. Well, I'm back in the house again. So this was the bolt. This is actually a Volkswagen bolt that I was given. As far as I'm aware, it's actually an M14 bolt, and it may well be that for the Kia you need an M16. So I've taken a washer for the sump bolt on a Kia, and there's a tiny bit of play, but that goes on and off, goes over quite easily. But I'm not sure if that will fit in, but I believe it's an M14, so it might be that I need an M16. But after chatting to my friend John at the garage, he says it's alright doing this as a test, but he would recommend actually getting a new damper. So that may well be sound advice. His idea was, the damper's there to take up a certain amount of the hydraulic fluid, whereas this removes that, that suspension, as it were, like a spring. It obviously varies how much fluid goes through, or if too much force is going in, it'll bring it back, it'll reduce the pressure. So that's his outlook. If anybody's watching this and has other ideas, I'm happy to listen, but it may well be the case that I should do this as a test to see if it does fully restore the clutch action, but I'll need to double check and see what is the correct size. As I say, as far as I'm aware, this is an M14 by 1.5, and it may be that I actually need an M16 by 1.5. So I've got some executive decisions to make. Perhaps I'll just get another damper and not use something like this. Or maybe I mean, it's just going to be more work, really. I'm going to have to undo the clutch master cylinder and then take the damper off, pop that in, assuming it is the correct size, and then see how that goes. Maybe it's fine, maybe there's never a problem again after that point in time, I don't know. Or maybe it's better to actually get another hydraulic damper for the clutch, so that you have that sort of safety mechanism built in. But no doubt at some point that will fail as well. But saying that, I've never had a problem with any of the Kia cars I've had with hydraulic clutches, so it's maybe just a case of bad luck for certain cars. But I have noticed that a range of different marks suggest a deletion of the damper and a replacement with a bolt. But anyway, a bit of thinking. So anyway, that's where we are today, and I'll get this posted. And if you've got any questions or suggestions, please feel free to let me know. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe.